Welcome back to Physical Science. Wow. Right now, you should be able to write your own chemical equation between a metal and a non-metal. Be able to write your own equation and write the ionic compound on the end with the proper subscripts that go down there. Now remember, if there's nothing there, we're always going to assume a 1, right? So, no big deal right there. There's just an example one. So that's what you're coming from. So now you know how to look at the periodic table. You use your oxidation numbers, which we add to the periodic table. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1, right? And then we can do our crossover method, and we have figured this out. The next step for you to learn about ionic bonds or ionic compounds is how to use the proper chemical name for that compound, okay? So you're creating these ionic compounds over here, and now you're going to learn how to name them. And it is nowhere near as difficult as you think it is, okay? In fact, I wrote down the rules, so you may want to pause the video right now. You may pause the video right about now, and you're going to write down these rules right here, okay? Now, these rules are only for ionic bonds, okay? When we get to some other bonds, there's going to be some other rules we got to learn, okay? So, for now, these are just the ionic ones, and lucky you, these are the easy ones, okay? These are the easy ones. Not necessarily the fun ones, but they are the easy ones. All right, quit talking. Let's get to the money key. All right, so if you got beryllium and fluorine to come together, make BeF2. Now, in other words, this is going to be beryllium fluorum something or other, right? Some sort of highfalutin sounding chemical name. And you are now going to learn how to write it. It's so easy. Oh my gosh. Okay, you ready? Step number 1, write the elements down, okay? Write the elements down. Now the first couple I'm going to show you step by step by step by step. It'll take you about 2, maybe 3, and you're going to go, I don't have to go through all those steps. I can do that. I can go straight to the bottom step right away. Good. Okay, that's a good thing. But for now, we're going to do it step by step. Make sure we do it right. Write the elements down. All right, so these are the 2 elements I want to write down, and it's in that order. Metal first, then the non-metal. So Be is beryllium. So we're going to write that down. Beryllium. Oh, I misspelled it. Wow. It's late in the day, and I'm off a little bit. Actually, off a lot. Yeah. Anyways, here we go. B-E-R-Y. Beryl, right? B-E-R-Y-L-L-I-U-M. Sorry about that. It's been a long day. Okay, so we got beryllium. Now you write down the other one. Fluorine. F-L-U-O-R-I-N-E. Okay, step number 1 is done. We wrote down the elements. Now, step number 2, easy. Step number 2, change the last word, that would be this one right here, change the last word so that it will end with IDE. Okay, now it's going to take a while, not very long, it's going to take you a little while. Once you see most of these elements and how you change them with an IDE in the end, there'll be nothing to it. Okay, so in other words, this INE, we're going to change that to, this is going to be really easy, we're going to change that IDE part right here to IDE. Okay, instead of INE, we're going to change it to IDE. There we go. So this is going to become beryllium fluorine, and now instead of the INE, we're going to get rid of that, and we're going to put down IDE. Okay? So right now we pronounce this as beryllium fluoride. This is beryllium fluoride. Wow, it sounds smart. There was nothing to it. Rule number 3. Got to check that first element. Check the first element up here. Okay, that's a metal. Now, if that one is a transition metal, we got 1 extra step. That's all. If it's a transition metal, then there's just 1 extra step we got to do. Okay, no big deal. So, go look at your periodic table. Remember, you should always have your handy-dandy periodic table in front of you. And let's go find beryllium. Beryllium is way up here in the second column over, which makes it an alkaline earth. It is not a transition metal. It's not in this area down here. So it is not. That is not a transition metal. So I don't have to do any Roman numerals or anything like that. I'm done. So that's it. Beryllium fluoride. Easy enough, right? Let's try another one. That was so easy. Let's try another one. Now I'm going to skip writing the whole entire equation and skip right straight to just giving you these. Like, let's do Ca3N2. Ca3N2. Okay? Because you already know how to do the 3 and the 2s, all that. I don't need to show you that. So we're skipping ahead here. Now, what do? Step number 1, write down the elements. Ca is calcium. Calcium. How do I know that? Well, you just look at your handy-dandy periodic table. Okay, there's Ca right there, and it says calcium. Okay, calcium. And you know is nitrogen. So this is going to be nitrogen. Step number 2, change that second word so that it ends in IDE. Well, what's that going to be? Nitrogenide? Nitrogenide? No, see, that's what I mean. It's going to take a little bit, but once you've seen this one time, it'll be a no-brainer. This actually becomes nitride, okay? Now, don't worry if you don't know that. Once you've used it a couple of times, it'll be like a second thought to you. It won't be any hard, difficult thing at all. So nitrogen becomes nitride. Okay, nitride. And there's that little IDE on the end that we needed. And next, third step is calcium, a transition metal. Again, go to our handy-dandy periodic table. There's calcium right there. It's in column 2. It is not a transition metal. It's not in that big bridge area. That's why we learned about families in that last module. So it just stays calcium nitride. Bingo, bongo, done. Okay? Easy. Let's try one more easy one. And then I'll show you one with the transition metal. Let's try K3P1. Okay, again, I won't write the 1 down. Okay? So K is, what is that one? Right, gotta look that up. K is right there on the far left. It's not a transition metal, by the way, just for future reference. K is potassium. Potassium. Okay, so write that down. Step number 1. Potassium. And what's P? Phosphorus, right? Phosphorus. Okay, phosphorus. Now, we got to change the second word so it ends in IDE. Well, again, what is this going to be? Phosphoruside? No. Phosphoride? No, it's phosphide. Okay, phosphide. We're actually going to drop the O-R-U-S. Don't worry about it. If you're going, I'm never going to remember this. Don't worry about it. Okay? Don't worry about it. If you accidentally, on my test, if you accidentally said phosphoride, that's okay. It's not a big deal. If you're going to become a chemist, it'll be a big deal. But in here, it's not that big of a deal because I'm tickled that you're going to remember to put an IDE in. That's the important thing I want you to get out of today. So this is going to become potassium phosphide. There's that little IDE in the end. Okay, so there's 3 examples of how to do one where the metals, the first one is not a transition metal. Now, let's do one that's a transition metal. Okay, let's do one that's got a transition metal. And you're going to see that it's really not that big of a deal. Let's do titanium. Titanium. And let's pick on oxygen. Okay? Titanium and oxygen. We're going to use different nonmetals over here so you can see what they look like when you put the IDE on the end. All right, here we go. First step, write down the elements. Titanium. Oxygen. Oxygen. Okay, now next thing we got to do is we got to change the second word or the ending word to IDE. So that's going to be what? Oxygenide? Never heard that word. But I bet you've heard the word oxide. Yeah, we really shortened it up a lot. So this becomes titanium. I can't spell or think today. Titanium. And this becomes ox. And right there is where we're going to put our IDE. Okay, IDE. Now, the next big thing. Is the first element a transition metal? Yes, it is. I intentionally picked that. Told you I would do that. And we know for sure because here in this bridge area right here where all of our transition metals are, there's titanium right over there in the upper left-hand corner. Titanium. Now, the rule is this. Right after this word titanium, we have to put a Roman numeral right in there somewhere. So I'm going to scoot over oxide. I'm going to scoot that over, make a little room. Okay, there's a little IDE in the end. So we're good. And right there, since this is a transition metal, we're going to put parentheses right here, and we're going to put a Roman numeral in there. Now watch very carefully. That Roman numeral, it seems kind of crazy. It's going to take a little bit of learning, but it's going to come from this number on the oxygen. Okay? And the reason why, think about it. Remember when you did all those binary compounds and you'd find the little oxidation numbers and then you do what? You'd cross them over, right? You'd cross them over. So that 3 over there, it was crossed over. It used to be over here, right? Remember when we did the crossover? So the 2 used to be up over here and the 3 used to be over here. So this titanium really used to be a 3. That used to be titanium 3. It's just that once we did the crossover to create the ionic compound, we dropped the little numbers up there, right? So all you got to remember is you use the number on the other element, and you can't put a normal 3 like we like. They want it in Roman numerals. So we're going to say 3. The Roman numeral for 3 is 3 lines. So now the proper way to announce or pronounce this chemical would be to say titanium 3 oxide. Ooh, sounds nice, don't it? Sounds official. Let's try a couple more of those. So you get the idea how to do it. All right, let's try another one. Let's try iron. Let's try that one. Oh, actually, this would be this way. My bad. Let's try that. That's not exactly correct. Let's just go for it for now. So we've got iron, there's 3, and sulfur, and there's 2. Okay? Now, if you actually go back and look at the ionic compound for that, you'll see I actually did that wrong. But we're just playing around with naming right now. So, first step, write down the element. Fe is iron. S is sulfur. Now we're going to start skipping some steps because you're kind of getting used to this, right? So sulfur becomes, remember step number 2, got to change the last one to IDE in the end. So sulfur becomes sulfide. Yeah, so we're going to get rid of the U and the R. It's gone. And we're going to put in an IDE, sulfide. Okay? So that takes care of step number 2. Step number 3, we got to do, if this is a transition metal, we got to put some Roman numerals in there. And you know I intentionally picked it. And there it is, right dead center of the transition metals, iron right there. So we're going to need Roman numerals. So here we go. Put our little parentheses in there. Right there. Now, where do we get the number from here? Is it this one? No. That's the most common mistake. Be careful. Don't do that. No. Stop it. Don't do that. Okay? You use the number on the other element because remember that used to be up here before we did the crossover thing. So that's actually the number we need right there. So we just need a 2 right there. So this would be iron 2 sulfide. Which when you look at it looks kind of confusing because everybody goes, iron 2? Why are you saying it's iron 2? It's because you use the 2 from over here, right? A little confusing. That's why we're going to do another one for practice. One more, and I think you'll have this nailed down. All right, let's try another one. Let's try Cu, copper. And let's find another. Let's try, how about something like this? Copper and bromine. Okay, let's try that one. So here we go. Step number 1, write down the elements. Cu is copper. C-O-P-P-E-R. Of course, we're going to leave some space in there, probably for a Roman numeral, right? And Br is bromine. Bromine. There we go, bromine. Step number 2, got to change the second word to an IDE on the end. Okay, so IDE. So instead of INE, that's kind of like that first one we did, it's going to turn to IDE, right? Becomes, instead of bromine, is bromide. That was not too hard. And copper, is that a transition metal? Absolutely. Okay, it's right there, right in the middle of that big bridge area, so that is a transition metal. And so we're going to put our Roman numerals in there, right there like that. And what goes in there? The 1? No, remember, don't do that. Stop it. Okay, you got to go get the number from the other element, okay? So it's going to be a 4. That 4 needs to go right down there. Okay? Now, what's the Roman numeral for 4? 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's the one with the V, and you put the I in the front. There you go. That means 4. Right? So this will be pronounced copper 4 bromide. Cool? I hope so. All right, after this video, hopefully down below there somewhere, there's going to be an activity for you to play with, okay? And you'll get to name a whole bunch of ionic compounds, okay? Get to be pros at this, okay? And then we're going to get in the next kind of bond, and you're going to have, even though it's going to look more difficult, it's going to be so much funner. You're going to actually want to do the other kind of bond naming more than this one, even though this one's the easier one, okay? So, all good things ahead to come. Be safe, be careful. I'll talk to you later.